what's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. I'm Daniel. This is Jonathan. We are back with Death Note episode 3. Last time we met the... Do we call him an antagonist? Like, which one's the antagonist? Which one's the protagonist?
I would consider L the antagonist.
Yeah, since we're following Light's story, let's call him the antagonist.
Are we Team Light? I'm Team Light.
Yeah, it's too early to say, but I was impressed with how L set the whole thing up.
I will say that was a
very Sherlock Holmes-ish.
Yeah, bro. That was legit the way he kind of set him up.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about it in that last episode. The research that he put into this first, and then carrying out the plan.
He's smart.
And
they both are.
Right. And then everything that Light, confirmed for him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That's when you have two people who are like ultra smart, which I'm assuming L is, then you can't really, it's hard to outsmart each other. You almost have to look for a way to get under someone's skin or like let their emotion get the best of them.
Yep.
Because their wits and they just keep hitting. So similar to how he got Light to act recklessly and write the name, that's like the way you get the other one.
It's like a good match between sports, good sports matches.
Yeah.
You got to wait with two good teams. You got to wait for one to make the mistake
and then take advantage of it. Yeah. So I love that whole concept of it. Hopefully we get to learn more about L. I like the mystique of him. I'm still thinking. At first, I was thinking he has some other, like he's another person who has a Death Note or like a similar, like if Death Note exists, there may be something else that's similar to it, right? Like from the other realm that made its way to the human realm. But hearing how he got to it makes me think maybe he's not using any magic or demon powers. He's just really, really smart.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that whole thing is set up and where he's coming from,
Yep. Same.
We're going to go ahead and hop into this one. Before we do, guys, please consider subscribing to our channel. Full link to actions over on our Patreon. Those are early access to future episodes. If you want to check those out, we're ready to hop into episode 3. Here we go. It showed Ryuk eat apples a few times. Does he choose what he can interact with and what he can interact with in the human world?
I don't know, but I think in that first episode, he mentioned something about liking the taste of apples, and that's why he liked to go down there, something like that.
But how does he physically grab an apple, but then he walks through his friend?
Two people.
Yeah. Have you seen? Can
it be that it's only inanimate objects that he can?
Or he can choose what he can interact with?
Right.
There are 14 people who claim to either know Kira or who have seen him.
That's gotta be fake.
However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available.
Right.
This week, there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira.
It's all like fame.
Right.
We have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays, over time, with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m.
Wow.
Well,
that information is extremely relevant.
Found out he's in school.
It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a...
Yeah, he picked it up quick, dude.
Based on the fact that Kira's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has a very childish concept of right and wrong.
Wow.
Well, I'm not saying this to support Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the world, here in
Crime has gone down.
We've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
Someone young. That proves the point.
I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen.
He's also young, and he probably thinks like
Right.
Sums up our...
Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos of the victims were made available to the public in Japan.
Oh, he's already tying that in?
Yep. Gotta see the face.
Because he's thinking there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I wanted to apologize.
Nobody said it would be easy to speak the truth, but it has to be done, especially when it's something that isn't easy to say.
True.
Having said that, if you'd gone on to say that we should commend Kira for doing such a great job of reducing violent crime, then yes, I might have had a little problem with that.
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't.
Sounds like Dad's home.
I haven't really seen the...
He's home really early
Could
today.
his dad be the detective?
You just tried the last problem by yourself.
Maybe
Bro.
after dinner.
Such a plot twist if it is.
Bro.
Hey, glad you could join us for dinner. You hungry, Dad?
It's been a long day.
Man.
Could you imagine chasing your own son and he's...
Does he realize that? Or you?
So light.
He's at the top of his class.
He has
My
to
big
play it
brother's
down.
a genius.
Yeah.
That's my son. We're all proud of you, Light.
Is everything okay, Dad? You look tired.
Yeah, I'm not able to say too much about it.
Yeah.
This case I'm working on now is really tough.
I bet he knows.
I see.
Piecing it. Oh my God.
Well, Daddy's a policeman. And that must be the reason why you're so confident.
That's right.
He can't be walking around
It's easy
writing
for me
in
to
a
hack
book
into
now.
Dad's computer. We're on a home network, so I can copy the files I need without leaving a trace.
Oh my God.
This way I can keep track of their investigation.
That's you would okay. It's 2006 when this came out.
Go.
Computers these days they block that kind of stuff from happening a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, he guessed his password.
Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
No, just switches up the times he's killing.
Yep. Man, that does give him an advantage.
If I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I?
Oh.
Looks like I'll be able to
Time.
provide you with more.
Make it more random, dying at 4 in the morning,
Right.
at 3 in the morning. Now it's gonna throw them all off.
Yeah.
But then I bet El's gonna now suspect that he has access to police files. This is gonna narrow him more.
And how many of these police officers that
Have
are
high
on the
school age
case
kids.
have... Yep. So it could actually be narrowing him down.
And if I was in prison, I'd be terrified.
Oh, yeah. I'm a criminal.
What? The day before, there were another 23 victims. He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
That's still too
Considering
calculated.
that this does punch some holes in the theory that our suspect is a student. Maybe not.
I think you're right
It does
here.
appear less likely now that Kira is a student.
But
But that's not the message he's sending by doing this. I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
he's flexing, but he's giving away a
Right.
lot of.
As soon as we began to suspect that Kira might be a student, the pacing of the killings changed. Coincidence? No. This can only mean that Kira has access to police information.
Dang it.
It's obvious now.
So now they can
This is a
throw him
direct
off.
challenge.
El is probably starting to sweat a little by now.
No, he's getting
What'll
cocky.
really make his job difficult is that I've deliberately left about 50 criminals alive for times like this. By now, he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
Okay, so he knew that.
Showing them you have connections to the police makes it easier for them to find you than when they just suspected you were a student.
Well, my real
Similar
agenda
to like
is
his diary
to
thing.
get- What's especially important is that El and the investigators don't trust each other at all. Think about it. Could you trust someone whose name and face you don't even know? When El discovers that I'm somehow getting confidential information, he'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak. El will investigate the police, and they will be investigating El. I'm not the one who's going to find out.
Pin them against each other.
I can let the police do that for me.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That's a good plan too. I was even because I was saying at the beginning, I was like, okay, I get what you're doing, but you're making yourself into a target.
Right,
But he wants
exactly.
that. He wants them to
go find him.
Okay, this note shall become the property of the human world once it touches the ground of or arrives in the human world. Right, okay. Yeah, we knew that. Is there another one?
Probably.
The owner of the note can recognize the image and voice of its original owner, i.e. a god of death. Okay.
With all due respect, Chief, we're resigning. We demand that you assign us to a different case. It's because we value our lives, sir.
If what El says is true,
I'm sure you recall El's last request. He asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public, and specifically to determine whether photos of the victims were available.
they're
to
piecing
the
that
public
together
prior to
too.
their
Yep.
deaths. Every single one of those victims' names and photos were broadcast to the Japanese public, and then they died.
Right.
Anybody with a computer can find out who we are. We don't hide our faces. We're out in the open.
The truth is, we could be killed by Kira at any time.
I don't know.
Stop! All of you! Hold it right there!
Nope.
What's this guy's story though?
Yeah.
What if L's another student
Now, let's apply this
in class?
Could that be?
As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
and this is the complete
That's what he
list?
wanted.
Yes.
I am sure that somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
Are you starting with him?
First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person.
Yeah, he likes
I'm
what he's
here
doing
because
with
I
it.
have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or Elle's side.
I knew
Just
that
here
much
for the
already.
show.
I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion. I'm just
Is he going to help him?
Are we Ryu?
What's this? Why are you
Right,
telling
in
me
a
all
way
this
we
stuff
are.
now anyway?
The only reason I'm going to tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
Oh, is that FBI or is that L?
What? The guy who works for L?
I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem.
Can he use
Who would
Ryu
be
like a
following me?
camera?
I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes?
You sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for ourselves. Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
Now those 20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life.
Oh.
So it means that as long as we don't slack off,
He'll live
even
forever.
if someone was to shoot us in the head, a god of death cannot die. No matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase.
Oh,
That is
right.
the first difference between gods of death and
Interesting.
humans who possess a death note.
Okay.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Whoa.
Their name and lifespan?
I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now. But there's no way I'd ever tell you that.
Dang, that's crazy.
I may have a big mouth, but even I wouldn't go that far.
Damn.
Shinigami never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. If a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami, but only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
What? So he can gain that power?
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes
A parent.
is half of that person's remaining lifespan.
Oh.
Without knowing how much is left?
Right.
Yeah. If you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25.
And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you wouldn't just give me the names of people I wanted to kill. You're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
That's right. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them.
What'll it be like?
He's gonna do it.
Is it a deal?
Oh, man.
Deal.
Ah. Dang. Okay, there's a new twist.
Bro, where do all the... How did that rule just come up in this third episode? Like,
I know, like, why is he even holding out?
every episode we're finding something new. He found out in the first episode the death note. He finds out how it works. Whatever,
Yeah.
right? That's the rules. Second episode, we found out that if his sister was to touch that book, then she would be able to see him too.
Right.
And he's like, "Why didn't you tell me this before?" And then in this third episode, we now have this
new information, like just what makes them different from humans. Like someone who has what are they called? Shinigami that has the death note.
But he gave him like this OP like way of, like he said, it makes the death note be more powerful to use if he can just look at somebody and then it shows their name and how much years they have left.
Mm-hmm.
Now he can give him the Shinigami eyes. Does that make him a Shinigami? Because he can surrender. Let's just say he had 50 years more to live and he surrenders 25. But if he looks at somebody's name and writes it down and kills them, then does he get more time himself, right?
No, so I don't think so. I think he just he doesn't become a Shinigami. He becomes a human with the death note that has Shinigami powers. The powers being like seeing their name and lifespan. But now if he also was able to he already said no matter what, being a human, you're not going to gain the years back. So then what's happening to all those years since he's doing it, are they just now wasted? Because like instead of normally if Ryuk had done it, he would gain all those years of life.
Right.
Since Light's doing them, those years are just being wasted away. Nobody's inheriting them. I don't know. I don't know if they are.
Or are they going to Ryuk because he's the original owner?
He's the older holder of it, or the original. Maybe they are still going to him. I don't know. I wonder. He maybe has told him because he thinks this whole game is really interesting, and so he's like, "Let me throw in a little wrinkle." It's like whenever you're gambling or playing any like game show, and they say, "Okay, you can leave now,"
right? Or you can have what's behind door number.
Exactly. Right. It's like one of those things, and so like, but that's kind of it's almost in a weird way. If he had it's almost backwards. I don't know how to think of it. If you have like 60 years of life to live, it's almost worse to take the deals than if you only had 2 years of life left. Because then it's like, are you willing to? Because giving up, if you have 60 years left and you give up 30 years. So if you're 30 or he's 18, right? He lives 30 more years, 48. That's a fine life. But if you only have 2 years left, what's cutting it in half is do as much as you can in 1 year.
But even then, I see it the other way. I see it if you had to live 60 more years and you're only giving up 30 is a lot. Right. But that means you still have 30 more years to live.
That power.
Versus if you only had a year left, now you've only got 6 months. And 6 months, you're gone. You're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Regardless of how much you can do, your time is limited to 6 months.
Right.
Versus having 30 years or whatever.
But at least you had 6 months with that power versus you were just going to live a year without that power. So it's like 6 months with the power versus a year without. On a short span, it's not that much of a difference, but larger 30 years with the power versus 60 without.
But speaking hypothetically here, if I had this death note, I would rather, if I had 60 years, carry out those 60 years with the only power that I have of this notebook, being able to
access that information
access
publicly.
And
I
versus
agree.
only having a year's worth of being able to see everybody's time span, their names, and then I can just write their names from that. I don't have to know it. I would rather have the 30 years to keep writing names and carry out, because his ultimate goal is to be a god on his world, right?
Right. It's just the thing is that's his goal and that's what he's consumed by. But by being able to see their name, that he could be more efficient in that. He doesn't have to rely on the internet and looking things up. Like that guy who was attacking that girl, he could see
the name.
What he should do is like have a separate notebook where he can write those names down. He's going to kill them yet, but he has like their eye. He has his eye on them. You know what I mean?
Dang, yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of crazy. But he looks like he was almost considering it because I think he just wants to be a god, and that'll make him work faster.
Yeah.
And could he look at himself in the mirror and see his lifespan at that point? As soon as he got that power.
Ooh, I think somehow that would be revealed to him because Ryuk would let him know how many years he's taken from
Maybe
him.
he'll tell him just part of the deal. Man, I don't know if he takes it though.
I think he does.
I think because he has this god complex, and I think if L gets really close, like really close to catching him, then he does it. But that doesn't. He still has to see L, and no one's seen L.
Well, and even after he sees the name, how does he identify that as being L? Because L's name could be
It could be Larry,
Lind L. Taylor. It can be Lindsay. It can be Logan. It can be
a lot of it could be anything. That's true. And do you have to see them in person, or can you look at a picture of them and see that same information?
Ooh, that's another good.
You know,
yeah.
So otherwise, you're just out like sitting in the middle of a park, just looking around. But just having random people's names doesn't really say much.
A video game.
Yeah, it's like playing a video game with like the avatar walking around.
Yeah.
Dang, interesting. I don't know. I think he will take it just because he's on this like power trip.
Do you think L 141 police officers in the task force. Surely not all 141 have high school age
right,
kids.
So I think you could
narrow that down quick.
Or they're just saying student. They didn't say the age, but they're probably assuming not.
Oh, that's right, student.
Elementary age, but still.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at a student who's carrying out something like this, I'm not thinking an
at
elementary
least like,
kid. Middle school.
13 exactly and up. But that may narrow it down to like 60 people or something.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
it's easier to go through 60, 40 people than 141. Yeah,
that's true.
And then again, what Light wanted to happen is already happening. The police officers are resigning.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trusting L. L's not trusting them, so he's investigating them already.
Yep.
So everything's kind of going according to Light's plan here.
Right. But someone is following him.
Right.
So
and
what is that? Right.
Well, and I think I could be wrong, but I think it's FBI. Is that what he said? FBI had already been called and they're in the city monitoring whatever.
Right.
And I think it's maybe like an FBI agent or something that's following him around because he could be one of the, suspects already.
Yeah. They probably, maybe they're following everybody's kid who's a student, but whose parent has access to that information.
Yeah, I was going to say, he kind of deviated going from killing only criminals when he tried to kill Elle, thinking it was Lindell Taylor. He's already deviated from that. So would he follow through with killing this person that's following him, even though he's not a criminal, just to get him off his back? Because then at that point, really it's not the righteous,
justice thing.
It's him.
Like the power tripping.
Yeah,
and
power trip.
And also it kind of gives him up, put it more of a target on his back. Like it's more obvious who's doing it.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like the police need to limit. I'm looking at it from a cybersecurity, security perspective. They need to limit who has access to information, way limit it down.
Right.
On a needs to know or basic information.
But your dad's the head.
And if we talk things, we're talking it. Maybe we're in person or talking about it or sharing, but then you're not taking it home with you.
Yeah.
But the dad is right. But that's if new information comes out and that new information leaks, then there's only 10 people that could take these computers home.
Yeah. Dang.
I feel like Elle's smart enough to pick that up. And his little warehouse with a computer on the floor, he looks like he's probably 20, 25. I mean,
he looks very young too. Yeah.
So interesting. I like it. I don't know where it's gonna go from here, but I love this concept. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. That's all I got for today, though, guys. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. In a few days, we'll have the next episode. But until then, please consider subscribing to our channel. Full length reactions are on our Patreon, as well as early access to future episodes. All linked down below. But yeah, that's all we got for today. So we'll see you in a few days. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.